It's all about me.
This is the Dan Patrick Show podcast.
There is more where that came from.
Click back for new episodes all week long.
Napa know-how.
Your broken AC may not be broken. It may just need a recharge with the Avalanche AC Recharge Kit. Just $39.99 plus an additional $15 prepaid Visa card by mail. Just pull the trigger and The Avalanche AC Recharge Kit. Now $39.99 plus $15 prepaid Visa card. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer expires 6/30/18. Broadcasting from the Mercedes Man Cave, this is Dan Patrick.
Hour 2 on this Meat Friday. Dan and the Danettes, Dan Patrick Show. Check in with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Have they reached the crossroads with Jameis Winston? NFL expecting to suspend him for 3 games after a sexual assault in an Uber. We'll talk about that coming up in a moment. Check in with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. 877-3DP Show email address, dp@danpatrick.com. Spent most of the first hour looking back on last night's draft. Grades. Got to hand out some grades. I don't have grades for you. Reggie Miller might have grades for you coming up next hour. Poll question, McLovin, for the first hour.
Okay, which NBA player who's taken in the top 6 will you see the least of next year? Our guy Mo Bamba 1, Jaren Jackson in Memphis 2, and then Trae Young still 3rd. So people don't think they're going to see Trae Young down in Atlanta.
I think you might not watch games, but I do think that you're going to watch the highlights there. I think that Trae Young will have, Luka Doncic is going to have a lot of highlights. Dallas will get some run nationally because Dallas will probably be, they're a more interesting team to me than Atlanta is. Yes, McLovin.
I don't know. What's Doncic going to do to get a highlight?
A pass.
Yeah, I know. Every write-up of this guy's like, Doug Gottlieb just said he's not even going to be an all-star. He's like the number 3 pick. He's like, he'll be very good. Souped up Hito Turkoglu. I just don't see the path to superstar.
Who is going to be, okay, if I gave you the top 5 players and I get everybody else on number of all-star appearances, would you take that?
Oh, in a heartbeat.
You take the top 5?
Well, the 5 dumbest franchises in the league were taking the top 5 guys. So, I assume they got it wrong.
Oh, no, I'm giving you the top 5 guys.
No, I want the field.
You want the field.
25. I want it.
Paulie, if I gave you the top 5 versus everybody else, all-star appearances.
Based on odds, I would definitely take the top 5. Just on DeAndre Ayton and Marvin Bagley, they're going to get you 10.
10 all-star appearances.
Based on the odds of the selection, they have a good chance of getting you between those 2 10 all-star appearances.
Yeah, but there's going to be like a Donovan Mitchell type that's going to get you 7. I don't know who it is.
10 beats 7. Yeah, I think your odds there are, if we actually had a research guy, we could.
The last 10 years have been nothing but bust up top. It's been bust. It's much more likely all these guys bust.
Well, Anthony Davis wasn't a bust.
I know, but there's 7 busts for every Anthony Davis. It's been, these young guys are crapshoot.
Yeah,
but Anthony Davis has 5 out of 6 all-star appearances. So just Anthony Davis got you 5 out of 6 chances in his draft.
Okay, but look at the rest of the players. If I gave you the top 5 in the Anthony Davis, so I'm going to give you 5 all-star appearances right away. And then you get the next 4 picks, and then I get everybody else. That'll take you a little bit of time to come up with that.
Yeah, in this draft specifically, you'd be in bad shape because Michael Kidd-Gilchrist has none. Bradley Beal has 1. This is the 2012 draft. Deion Waiters, none. Even though his career's not bad. And then you have Thomas Robinson, bust. Then with a 6th pick, Damian Lillard, who has 3 and counting.
Yeah.
Give me a second.
Okay. Got some Andre Drummond action in there. Yeah, this one is the field's going to win.
Yeah. I would take the field as well.
Not necessarily. It's probably a tie.
Draymond's in that draft?
Draymond's in that, though, right? All right, 877-3DP Show. Email address, dp@danpatrick.com. We got a stat of the day. Let's see, what else do we have? The Buccaneers. Oh, Brett Favre had some interesting comments. Brett Favre explains why he wants to end youth tackle football. Now, I was surprised at the timing of this, but we'll get to that coming up in a moment. But Brett Favre has said that he has a hard time watching kids play tackle football. This is a guy who had 297 consecutive starts. He told the London Daily Mail, I think it's going to take someone who has poured his blood, sweat, and tears in it to ban tackle football. We talked about the state of Illinois would like to ban tackle football for kids under the age of 12. So Favre is all in on this. He goes on to say, the body, the brain, the skull is not developed in your teens in single digits. I cringe. I see these little kids get tackled, and the helmet is bigger than everything else on the kid combined. They look like they're going to break in half. Goes on to say that he suffered, quote, thousands of concussions during his playing career. How many times did he sit out with concussions? Because I'm going to guess he didn't, since he started 297 games. Was Favre forthcoming with his thousands of concussions here? Did the Packers know about this and let him continue to play? Favre goes on to say, I was always great with names and faces no matter how long it had been since I saw somebody. But that's not so much the case anymore. And sometimes I'll be talking, and it's like, I'll know what I want to say. It's right there. I just can't get it together in my head and make it come out of my mouth. And I'm not surprised. Nobody should be surprised at the way Favre played, as tough as he was, that he didn't miss games, that he would have concussions. But thousands of concussions. So how many times did you have? I'm guessing thousands is hyperbole here. Because if you're going to have 4 a game, I don't think that's physically possible. Hundreds of concussions? Also, did you get your bell rung? Did you get dinged? Remember Troy Polamalu? This is on short notice here, but Troy Polamalu, the Steelers defensive back, was on, and this a couple years ago. And what he said and how he said it, it was sort of, okay, this is what life is. And then he would talk to me after his career was over about all of this. So here's Troy Polamalu about concussions.
Well, when people say that, you kind of just get, just feel like a little buzzed or dazy.
You get your bell
or
rung.
dazed, I'm sorry. Yeah, if you just feel like your bell rung, they consider that a concussion.
Do you?
And I wouldn't know. But if that is considered concussion, I would say any football player at least records maybe 50 to 100 concussions a year. I've had, I believe, 8 or 9 recorded concussions. We'll have another conversation after I'm done playing football.
That's 6 years ago. We haven't had that conversation. I'd still like to with Troy Polamalu. Favre has dedicated a lot of his time and money to making football safer, in addition to backing this Illinois bill that would get rid of tackle football for kids who are 12 and under. Served as an executive producer on a short documentary covering the effects of head injuries after having conversations with a company that markets shock pads placed under artificial fields to lessen the blow of hits similar to the one that ended Favre's career. And now, he's also invested in a prescription drug, a nasal spray designed to decrease brain swelling and treat the long-term effects of head injuries. Yeah,
Favre also added, you would never come out of the game for concussion because nobody thought concussions were that bad. It was a matter of toughness. You didn't come out of a game because you were dinged, saw stars, or fireworks are flashing, which all are results of a concussion, as we know now. Ear ringing, kind of like the dinner bell, dining, time to come eat. That should be a wake-up call. You just suffered a severe brain injury.
Yeah, but he hasn't had thousands of concussions. Hundreds, yes. But, this is something the NFL, and, frankly, NFL fans, I don't think care about. I wouldn't want my son to play football, but I still watch football. You can have both. I think that, and it really has an effect on us viewing. People more upset about what happens with the anthem than guys who are having concussions later in their life taking their lives, or guys who turn into a vegetable here. People aren't interested in that. They don't care about that. Brett Favre is saying we should, and he's right. Junior Seau, one of the star defensive players, Hall of Famer, takes his life. He shoots himself in the chest so he can donate his brain. There's far bigger problems with the NFL than just the anthem or Jameis Winston. But these are problems that nobody cares about. They don't want to talk about. And I think what happens is you'll see something as far as the number of players, the quality of player who's playing in the NFL 15 or 20 years down the road. Because this is when parents get involved in this. When mom gets involved in it, then it's serious. Because dad wants son to play. Mom is going to look at this differently. When all of a sudden the Today Show or Oprah or somebody else is talking about it, now mom's interested in this. And then when mom gets interested in it, that's when she lays down the law and says, no, he's not going to play. I would not have tackle football before the age of 12. I would not. I would not have tackle football before you go into high school. I just wouldn't. But I would do it so it's universal and nobody gets an advantage here. And I would have every state do that. But it's not going to happen because high school football in certain states are more important than pro football. Yes, Steve.
And even aside from Junior Seau, the NFL survived Javon Belcher, which was just an unreal story, and he was found to have tons of brain trauma. Yeah. That was horrifying what happened.
Dave Duras and Andre Waters, they're guys who played at a high level, played with injuries, and then once they're done, it's like we use you up. Like, okay, you're done, next guy. And then it'll be the next guy. So Brett Favre, if he's out in front of it and altruistic motives, then great. All for it. And I agree with him. I've seen these kids, and there's always one kid who is able to hit harder or run faster than somebody else, and then you have the other kids, who are vulnerable here. If you want to play, there's ways of playing. You don't have to be, trucking somebody here, laying somebody out. But when dad gets involved in it, and I've seen this, the parents get so overzealous here. We're going to run a pro-style offense here. I want Skippy to, be able to, you got to pound those guys. You go after the star player. Let's be honest. This is what happens here. It doesn't mean football is not a great sport. My dad played, my two older brothers played, and I saw the benefits of it and what it meant to them. But I think you have to be honest with what we have. What's going on right in front of us here. And the NFL does have a bigger problem than the anthem, and that is this. And college football has a big problem as well. College football has a bigger problem, in my opinion, than the NFL because those kids will go untreated. If you don't make the NFL, who's going to follow up with you? No one. Just not going to do it. And I think it goes a little bit more unregulated there. Whereas the NFL, we're watching now. Now you have a concussion protocol. Now you have a tent to go into. Although you still had the embarrassing moment when you had Tom Savage with the Houston game, where he's reaching for someone, and that official does not recognize that. It's still one of the most telling pieces of video I've ever seen when it comes to concussions, and how you could have just said, I want him out of the game. He does not come back in the game. And you might say, well, he doesn't have the authority to do it. Man, that's a terrible look. Remember the Charger lineman who struggled to get to the sideline, and he went back in the game. I'm going, who the hell is governing this? Who is watching this? Embarrassing.
Imagine having a boxing referee that didn't have the authority to stop a fight. You got to wait for one of the managers of the guy getting pummeled to start to throw in the towel, and God knows what would happen if you let that continue.
And then you don't want to err to the side of, I went too far and he didn't have a concussion. I understand all of this, but man, something has to pass the eye test. And Tom Savage is in trouble. When you see his hands going up, he's in trouble. But I can't. What happens is we base our reaction off of what happens after the hit. He looked okay to me, but that doesn't mean guys hide this. To my dying days, I will believe that Julian Edelman was concussed when he got hit in the Super Bowl by Cam Chancellor. I was amazed that he stayed on his feet, was not going to come out of the game. It's at the end of the Super Bowl. And I heard the hit. I'm on the sidelines. It's a violent sport. We get it. We all understand it. But I think there are certain precautions that we need to take. If you want to ensure what football is going to be for the next 20 years, 30 years, then I think that you have to take some precautionary measures. I don't want to react after the fact and treat concussions because then it's too late. Yeah,
and you've said many times, besides pretending that you're okay and you shake it off, they're grabbing other parts of their body like their knee to take the attention away from their head, like some other part of the body is keeping them on the ground.
When I asked Hines Ward about that, so the Steelers against the Ravens and he gets hit, Ray Lewis lays him out. And he knows if he goes up to his head that they're going to take him out. So he grabs his ankle. And I said, what did you? He goes, I don't even know why I thought of grabbing my ankle. He got to the sidelines and they realized, no, Hines, you've had a concussion here. And then they hide your helmet from you. because you want to go back in. Yeah, Paul.
And look at the difference between the Hines Ward. He knows he's got a ding, but he's got the wherewithal to know how to hide it. And then the severeness of Tom Savage, where he doesn't even have the wherewithal to hide it. He doesn't want to come out of the game. Tom Savage is rarely in games. Yeah. He's fighting for his job every second. A guy like him, but he had no wherewithal to control what was happening to him.
It always takes something tragic, something horrible to change law, rules. Dale Earnhardt Sr. Remember, guys didn't, we don't have to have soft walls or a Hans device. I barely wear a seatbelt here. We lose Dale Sr. Then we have softer walls. Then we have a Hans device. And now when we watch NASCAR, when there's a wreck, you don't go, oh my God, is he dead? It's just, we don't react that way. They're just precautions that have to be made. And I know that there's technology, scientists are involved in this. I just hope the NFL is open-minded about these people trying to make it safer and better. All right, 18 after the hour. We'll check in with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Is it time to cut Jameis Winston? That's next year on the Dan Patrick Show.
Support for the Dan Patrick Show comes from our friends at Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. They understand that home plays a big role in your life and family, and that's why they created Rocket Mortgage. Rocket Mortgage gives you the confidence you need when it comes to buying a home or refinancing your existing home loan. It's simple, allowing you to fully understand all the details and be confident you're getting the right mortgage for you. Whether you're looking to buy your first home or your 10th, with Rocket Mortgage, you get a transparent online process that gives you the confidence to make an informed decision. It's convenient. Our trusted partners allow you to share your financial information with Rocket Mortgage at the touch of a button, and in addition to getting a real mortgage approval in minutes, you can even adjust the rate and length of your loan in real time to make sure you're getting the right solution for you. Rocket Mortgage by Quicken Loans. Apply simply, understand fully. Mortgage confidently. To get started, go to rocketmortgage.com/Dan, equal housing lender, licensed in all 50 states, NMLS, consumeraccess.org, number 3030.
Okay, this is just a 30-second commercial, and I'm going to throw a lot of numbers at you, but please stay with me. In just 15 minutes, you could save 15% or more on car insurance. The company that has been offering you great rates and great service for 75 years, it's Geico. I've been using them for a long time myself. And anytime you need help, you can speak to one of their trained specialists 24/7. No recordings. The company, Geico. Go to geico.com today. Sorry for all the numbers, but I've been a fan and a customer of Geico for a long time. And in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, I'm out.
Full Sail University. You want to be a sportscaster? Now you can get a degree in sportscasting. Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. Go to fullsail.edu/Dan Patrick. Got great people involved in this with our faculty, advisory board, people in the business who are making decisions, who are broadcasters or behind the scenes. So we've thought of everything here. You get hands-on learning, immersive projects, faculty, real-world experience, preparing you for what life is really like in this industry. And you want to be in front of the camera, behind the camera. You want to be a director. You want to be on-air talent. You want to be a reporter, sideline reporter, esports. We've thought of everything here. Podcast. Bill Simmons involved in this, Sage Steele and Jay Harris. So some people who are doing this on a daily basis. Students will be learning this business inside and out with people who've worked in the industry. And that's why I wanted to start it, because there were so many times people say, how do I get into the business? This is how you get into the business. And hopefully you get that opportunity. Dan Patrick School of Sportscasting. Go to fullsail.edu/Dan Patrick. We were just looking at a video where James Corden does carpool karaoke, and he was in Liverpool, and he had Paul McCartney. And they stop into a pub, and all of a sudden, it's really quiet in there in the pub, and there's this curtain there, and all of a sudden, James Corden says to this girl, go put some money, put some money in the jukebox, play a song here. Liven it up here. And then all of a sudden they open the curtain. Paul McCartney's there with his band. Been doing hard days night. Paul McCartney, it's good life, man. He's done well. And still loving it. Still loving it, performing. Yes.
What's not to love? He's a Beatle.
I don't know. I get the feeling, though, that it bothers Ringo that he even said, look, peace and love. Don't send me any stuff to sign. I think it could be tiring being a Beatle. It feels like Paul has embraced it, but I think that everywhere you go.
He's also the Oates of the Beatles. Ringo's not given any of the respect that Paul McCartney has given.
Yeah, but people still want a piece of Ringo. So imagine what they want with Ringo if they see Paul. Because he's Sir Paul. I don't know if Ringo is Sir Ringo. But yeah, Paul's done well. Yeah, he still looks good.
Yeah.
He's done well. Yes, Paul.
They use the phrase living legend about people. That one, it fits. Like if he walked into a room and you were there and you saw him, I don't know if you'd be able to, I wouldn't be able to handle it. I don't get too starstruck, but I think I would not know what to say. Truly, I would just shut up.
Yeah, that's one of those where you're guaranteed to say something stupid.
Right. What can you say that he hasn't heard before?
Yeah.
You just don't say anything.
Right.
Do you act cool, though? Do I act too cool? Like, hey, Paul, how are you?
Yeah.
And then that next line is really going to be important as to how this is going to go.
But it's kind of on him, though, too, to give you the opening of... because he's so used to... Everyone that he meets for the first time, it's their first time meeting him, if that makes sense, right? Yeah. So he always has to do this in a way that they walk away with a good story and not have... The time I met Paul McCartney, it was so awkward. He was such a jerk. He has to be sort of like that professional way of like, hey, no, this is fun. All right, great. Yeah, let's do it.
I remember meeting Steven Tyler of Aerosmith. And I just said, hi, Steven, this is my wife. And then my wife couldn't get 3 words out. She couldn't even talk. And I'm looking at her like, what the hell? It's Steven Tyler. And Steven Tyler goes, honey, something like, it's okay. And then gives her a kiss. And then we kept moving down the line. And then she saw Joe Perry, the guitar player. And I said, don't even try to say anything. So we get done. And I go, you weren't drinking. What the hell happened? She goes, I have no idea. I'm not in this world. I had no idea what to say. Yeah, see.
That at a radio station I used to work for, a coworker of mine got to do an interview with Paul McCartney. And she was waiting backstage just before he was about to play a solo show. This is in the 2000s. And super nervous, like dying, like, oh my God, I can't believe Paul McCartney's going to walk in. And he came walking in singing, don't walk away, Renee. And that was her name. And she was like, all of her.
no.
No, she died. She melted.
Yeah.
I was like, oh my God, I can't believe this is happening. He was singing a song to me. And then that was essentially the next 10 minutes was just like, how great is this?
How cool is that of him to like just make the situation cool?
Right. See, that's what I'm saying. Like, he made it like, no, this is awesome. This is going to be great. He probably doesn't want to do 10 minutes with a Hartford radio station, but he did, and he made it great.
I usually get speechless when I talk to Rick Stroud, who covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers, who joins us now. Rick, thank you for joining us. I appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dan. Nice to be here.
All right, the Jameis Winston situation where it looks like he could be suspended for 3 games. How surprised are you?
Not surprised at all. I mean, I think the NFL, was likely to do this just because of the liability in a way and his history. Look, we don't know after 8 months of a forensic investigation what they found, what they learned, right? It's a he said, she said situation maybe. But we know what he came into the league with. And I just think that, I don't expect him to appeal it. I think that it could have been more games potentially. It still potentially could be more if he doesn't, from what I understand, doesn't accomplish certain things the NFL is going to require of him that they likely won't announce. But, this is the thing that the Bucs feared. When you take a guy, number 1 overall, and he has the history he had. I mean, remember, he went to the league 2 weeks before the draft on his own and sat down with the commissioner and spent 5 hours on Park Avenue trying to convince the NFL that they would have no trouble with him, during his pro career. And here he is.
Why won't he appeal this? Because judging from what is being said, it's he said, she said about this incident. And did he have a teammate there or a friend who was there as well to witness this?
Yeah, well, I mean, the appeal is still potential, but from what I understand, he won't. And I think the reason is that he wants to move forward. There's also a financial component to this. Next year, if he does play for a 5th-year club option at $20 million, that's significantly less than what he makes now. So you're talking about, maybe $125,000 forfeiture of checks. That's not the main thing, though. I think primarily he wants to get it behind him. We know these appeals haven't gone well. They're usually not the appeal of the decision. It usually becomes whether or not the NFL has the right to met out punishment, and the NFL has won in the court. So, this is something that there's been a lot of dialogue between the league, between Jameis' representatives. I think it's something that they're not happy about, but comfortable enough to be committed to getting it behind him and moving forward.
Because Tampa knew about this, and they decided to pick up his option for that 5th year. That's just under $21 million. Was that surprising at all? Were they rolling the dice on this, Rick?
Not so much, Dan, because the $21 million is guaranteed only against injury. So if he gets to March, no matter what happens this season, and he can pass a physical, the Bucs are not committed to honoring that contract. Okay. It is a club option. So there wasn't a lot of risk financially. It was kind of a no-brainer. There's still a chance that he wouldn't get suspended at that point. So they went ahead and picked it up. It really doesn't mean anything.
How is he viewed locally in Tampa?
Well, I think it was mixed. Certainly when he came into the league, he's won over some fans in Tampa because of his production. Now, here's the thing. He's won 18 games in 3 years. For a number 1 overall pick, he was on some bad football teams. That's usually the case. But that's not a lot of winning, Dan. And, 3-10 last year, he had some injuries. So, people were still waiting for him to sort of, honor his promise as a number 1 overall pick. But the reaction has been interesting. I mean, I think you have, just fans being fans who will attack the NFL, say there's no evidence, want to see the evidence, and they confuse this with a court of law. This is a business. This is something that was collectively bargained. The league doesn't need, a criminal charge or a civil complaint. So it's, I think people are still caught in fandom wanting to know why the NFL can do this and wanting due process that doesn't necessarily exist. But, again, think about Jameis Winston's history going back to Florida State. I think it's pretty obvious why they did it.
We're talking to Rick Stroud, covers the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. He's got an odd personality, Rick. How would you describe that personality with Jameis Winston?
I would say that, he's charismatic as hell. He's extremely intense when it comes to football. He loves football. He spends a lot of time working on his craft. Some of it is a little contrived at times. I think he tries too hard to play a role. I think his charisma is natural. The position of quarterback doesn't require you to do anything more than perform at times. And, everybody on the staff has told him, hey, Jameis, less is more with you. You have everything. But there is this, this other side that we've seen that at minimum isn't very smart, right? I mean, things he has done, you can chalk up in college maybe. But these are serious accusations. When you have 2, sexual assault-like allegations, and I know they're allegations, and I believe in the court system and all that, and he went through it at Florida State and was never charged. It's just there's something missing there. There's some disconnect there that you would put yourself in positions where you could forfeit perhaps your entire career. I mean, let's go forward and say he comes back, doesn't play particularly well. Maybe they win 6 or 7 games with him as a starter. Is a team going to give him $20 million and then, at that point, or $100 million, which is what you'd want to do with a franchise quarterback because of his history? I just think he's jeopardized too much.
Rick, great stuff. Thank you for joining us. Story we will obviously keep an eye on, and we appreciate your time.
Thanks, Dan.
That's Rick Stroud, covers the Buccaneers. Yeah, you're trying to figure this out, and if the Buccaneers decide to take extreme action against Jameis Winston, it costs them nothing. His compensation of nearly $4 million for 2018, fully guaranteed, and then there's the $21 million salary for 2019. That's only guaranteed for injury only until March of next year. If he's released before then, the payment is then avoided. Also, I thought that he and his team tried to get out in front of this. I'm talking about his legal team. That somebody leaked the information to a Tallahassee radio station that Jameis Winston was going to be suspended simply for failing to report an allegation and not for the actual behavior of sexual assault. So, hey, he didn't report this instead of he didn't report this sexual assault. Because what happened was the 3-game suspension looming for the violation of the personal conduct policy is in connection to something that happened in March of 2016 involving an Uber driver. And apparently he grabbed the woman's crotch against her will. But then I read another report where he had a friend, and I guess a former college teammate, who vouched for him and said Jameis wasn't even in the front seat. And the Uber people said nobody else was in the car but Jameis Winston. It feels like if you have somebody else who was in the car with Jameis Winston and he wasn't in the front seat, I would be fighting for this. I would, go after the NFL and the appeal process. I'd be fighting for my life here. Because the last thing Jameis Winston needs is something added on top of what was the possibility of something far more serious than just being suspended, and that is prison time. What happened in college. So you escape that, but you still bring the cloud in, and then you should be so far away from anything like that, and here you are with 3 games. McLovin, do you have what their schedule is, the games? I mean, I'm going to talk about the sports aspect of it, the football aspect. So the 3 games he's going to miss, and Tampa's got a really tough schedule here.
Okay, give me a moment here to pull up. They start with the Saints.
Saints
in
on the
Orleans.
road. Yeah.
Then they host the champion Eagles, and then they host the Steelers.
Okay.
I saw a stat that this is one of the toughest first 3 games in NFL history. You're facing 3 teams who have, I think, 10 or more wins. First 3 games
playoff teams. Yeah.
Kind of a loaded division, too, this year.
Yeah. But, if you're Tampa, you're trying to find that franchise quarterback. And I haven't seen enough to go he's a franchise quarterback. Now, he had some good stats, but he's very inconsistent. And I think he's immature. The talent is there, but it's just, there's an odd element to his personality there. Yeah, McLean.
It's kind of going ahead here, but what if they're 0-3? Then I guess you bring Winston back anyway. Then you knock yourself out of contention for the number 1 pick if, say, he wins 5 games. I mean, is there a point where you say, maybe we just cut our ties now?
I don't know. I don't know what else is in play here. So
maybe they're eyeing your guy Drew Lock next year or something, and you don't want to win too many games.
Now, I want to be fair to the process here. I don't know enough about it, and I have inquired about it of why aren't you fighting this, or why wouldn't he fight this, or where's the NFL Players Association on this? But I don't know. But man, we've been down this road, and if you're Jameis Winston, you have to stay out of the news. I got to believe you don't have any more hall passes after this. I have to believe. But hey, talent trumps everything. Mike in Florida joins us. Hey, Mike, what do you have?
How's it going, Dan?
Good, Mike.
Hey, listen, Rosen was right there for the taking. I can't believe we didn't take him. We missed again. We took the big defensive tackle, Vita Vea. He might be a solid player. 10 years ago, we passed on Aaron Rodgers to get Cadillac Williams, and I think we made the same mistake. I was on the phone with my brother saying, we got to take Rosen. We got to take Rosen right here. Winston, like you said, he's unproven. We missed on another quarterback, Dan. All right, guys, have a great day.
Thank you, Mike. Yeah, McLovin.
I don't really remember anyone talking about the Bucs going heavy on a quarterback. That would have been a huge surprise if they'd gone.
Mike in Florida was talking about it, but I don't think anybody else.
Yeah,
was.
I didn't hear that. I mean, it makes sense now. But
yeah. All right, we'll take a break. Reggie Miller will join us in the final hour of the show. We'll get to your phone calls coming up. People want to talk about the concussion story. Brett Favre saying that he's behind this Illinois bill that he wants to get rid of tackle football for kids 12 and under. And also, he said he had thousands of concussions. So I don't know what his definition of a concussion is. He did not have thousands. Hundreds? I'm sure he did. Back after this.
Hey, listeners, just wanted to take a minute to thank all our great sponsors and all of you great listeners for supporting this podcast. We certainly couldn't do it without either of you. And I wanted to remind you that you can support our sponsors by going to our show page at podcast1.com, clicking on the Support This Podcast button, and there you will see all our wonderful sponsors that help make this show possible. Thank you for downloading, subscribing, and of course, supporting. And now, back to the show.
Here at Podcast One, we love hearing from you. We read every tweet and comment you send our way, so don't miss your chance to take our summer listener survey. Just go to podcastone.com and click on the survey banner, or go to podcastone.com/mysurvey. It only takes a few minutes, and it gives you the opportunity to make a direct impact on your favorite shows. Tell us how you really feel, so we can get to know you better. We value your thoughts and participation, so check out the survey at podcastone.com/mysurvey, or click on the survey banner on podcastone.com.
Stay tuned for 60 seconds of AP News headlines right after this podcast.
Dan Patrick Show app for the iPhone and Android. We've been talking about it for a while. The app, without a doubt, best way to listen to the show on the live audio stream, or you can listen to the podcast whenever you want on the app as well. Plus, tons of show and app-only video every day. Download the DP Show app today at the App Store. To follow up on Jameis Winston and the fact that he reportedly is going to be suspended for 3 games. Remember, when it first came out, Winston had an alibi, and that's Ronald Darby, who served as a witness to this, former Florida State teammate of Jameis Winston. Now, he said that he was in the car and Jameis Winston was not in the front seat, that he was actually in the back seat. Well, the NFL has done their investigation. They determined that Darby, who insisted that Winston did nothing inappropriate while receiving a ride from an Uber driver, had not been in the car for the entire duration of the trip. So, also, what's even more troubling is Ronald Darby, who plays for the Eagles, served as a witness in the 2012 rape case against Winston. So, serving as a witness there twice, and it proved that he was not there the whole time for this drive. Darby said via a statement that when it first came up, that myself and Jameis were in the back seat. I am confident nothing inappropriate in nature happened in that car that evening, and Jameis did not have any physical contact with the Uber driver. The accusations are just not true. If Darby wasn't there for the entire car ride, it's impossible for him to know whether Winston did something that he should have done. But the NFL did their investigation, and then they found out that Ronald Darby was not there the whole time. All righty. I got a stat of the day here, Seton, and then we'll get some phone calls. So if you'll hit the music. Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Here comes the stat of the day! The Yankees won their 50th game of the season yesterday. 8th time in franchise history they've won at least 50 in their first 72 games. In each of the previous 7 years they did that, the Yankees went on to win the World Series. Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Stat of the day! Here comes the stat of the day! Continental Tire stat of the day. The Extreme Contact Sport is Continental Tire's newest ultra-high-performance summer tire, tested to the limits by 5 championship drivers. The Extreme Contact Tire, it satisfies the most demanding driver. You can get more information on all their great products at ContinentalTire.com. Ricky in Iowa joins us. Hi, Ricky. What do you have for me today?
Hey, Dan. First-time caller, long-time listener. 5'11", 220. I was just curious if you think Jameis Winston not appealing is a sign of guilt.
Well, I don't know. That's why I wanted to know from Rick Stroud, who covers the Buccaneers, is he going to appeal and why not? And I do have a couple of sources that I'm trying to get, trying to pin down on that as to why he wouldn't be appealing this. And I haven't heard anything yet. So that's all I can tell you with it, Ricky.
Thanks, Dan. Appreciate it.
Yeah, because I would think if you're innocent, then you're appealing this. If you're not, then you're guilty, right? If you didn't do anything, then I would be fighting. Because if this, you get suspended for this, now the next time, the league is going to suspend you for a year, by the way. And then all of a sudden you're going to have teams just saying, they're going to blackball you. We're not going to put up with this. And just the accusation here, the next time you're just the exact, the accusation you could be involved in something like this is where a team just goes, he's not worth it. At some point, your talent has to trump your trouble, and he's dangerously close to that not happening. Ed in South Carolina joins us.
Dan, how are you?
Good, sir.
Hey, so I don't know if you're familiar with it, but Riddell actually has a helmet with technology out now, and I kid you not, it's actually got shock sensors, and it's called the Riddell Revolution IQ. It's been out since, I think, 2009, maybe a little earlier. This helmet actually reports to laptops and pagers on the sideline of people who are wearing them and whatnot that if you have a concussion, it'll bookmark it. And then once you get hit like that again, it'll actually notify them. Why aren't we using those on all levels?
Well, I think there's also cost with that, but thank you, Ed. There's data that is registered there. Can you get all of these youth football leagues to be able to spend that kind of money? Certainly colleges you should be able to, and obviously with the NFL. But, a small college, how much do these helmets cost? And I think they're pretty expensive there. Aaron in Tennessee joins us. Hi, Aaron.
Hey, Dan. 6'1", 245. So my kid, I signed off on him to play when he was 4, tackle. He's 16 now. And I think part of the problem is not necessarily the equipment, but it's also the training of the coaches. With us, it was whatever father was willing to take the time to help. And we didn't receive any training on proper tackling. We just basically had to fall back on our knowledge. We didn't receive training on concussion protocol. And, the kids learn bad habits that linger and stick with them throughout their life. And I think the habits is part of the problem. I suggested that at the high school, college, and the NFL level, that they have to practice full contact with just the soft helmets. After you get busted in the nose or the lip, you'll tackle the proper way. And then in a full game, when you're wearing all the pads, you don't feel invincible like you do, practicing all the time with full gear.
Well, and thank you, Aaron. I mentioned this to you, and I'm talking about the audience a couple of years ago, that the NFL wants teams to adopt the rugby way of tackling. The Seahawks started doing that, but I was told about this a couple of years ago, that this is what they're trying to do is the rules are going to be catered, massaged into a way of making you tackle differently. And that's what they're trying to do. You can't use the crown of your helmet, where you're able to tackle somebody, how you tackle somebody. But we've allowed these guys to launch themselves, and guys made careers out of this. They made the highlights. We did videos on them, and now the NFL is saying, "Oh, wait a minute, that was nice and exciting, but now we have lawsuits here." They want how you tackle with rugby, which is you're not tackling with your face mask because they don't have one. You're not tackling with your helmet because they don't have one. You're form tackling and tackling lower. I know that the NFL fan is going to say that's not exciting. Two of the greatest linebackers ever, Brian Urlacher and Ray Lewis, form tackle. You watch now, guys just try to launch their body into you to knock you down. Guys don't even try to tackle you. And this is what the NFL is trying to discourage. They want you to have form tackling, where your head is to the side of the runner. Now, it doesn't happen all the time, but there are guys who know that they can get away with this. And I would, if I'm a defensive player, I'm going to go at Cam Newton's head. Remember when Denver did that a couple of years ago? I mean, they weren't even trying to hide it. It's like, hey, I'm going to go there. I get 15 yards. Who cares? I'm going to send a message to him and maybe knock him out of the game. The NFL is trying to steer clear of this for obvious reasons. All right, 2 hours in the books. What do we have coming up, Paulie?
Dan, a new bit called the Mystery Message Game.
Wait, what's that mean?
We have a voicemail inbox we set up recently.
We did?
Yeah, unbeknownst to me. And we got a great message.
Oh, okay. Reggie Miller in 20 minutes. Get his thoughts on the NBA draft. More of your phone calls as well. 2 hours in the books. Final hour coming up.
Hey humans, David Smalley here from the Dogma Debate Podcast right here on Podcast One, where we talk about all the things you're not supposed to discuss at work: religion, politics, abortion, racism, slavery, and that's only when we open the Bible. We discuss Islam, Islamophobia. What does that even mean? We chat with vegans, animal rights activists, and even visit factory farms to see it for ourselves. I invite people from multiple backgrounds to convert me into their worldview. But as long as they're okay with being respectfully challenged, you better bring your evidence. And I never lose sight of how both the left and the right are seeming to lose their minds. So basically, we're solving all the world's problems right here on Dogma Debate. And you've been missing it. Download Dogma Debate on iTunes, Stitcher, or PodcastOne.com.
Now ADT can help protect your family at home and on the go. Get started with ADT's best offer, an ADT starter kit and security camera installed free. A savings of $449. Plus, you'll get ADT Go, the new family mobile safety app and service for 24/7 emergency response. Go to ADT.com/podcast today to take advantage of ADT's best offer with 36-month monitoring contract, easy pay, and QSP. Early termination and activation fees apply. Additional charge for ADT Go premium services after 3/31/18. Certain markets excluded. License available at ADT.com. Offer ends April 1st.
Immigration fight. I'm Tim McGuire with an AP News Minute. House Republican leaders say they will continue working on a comprehensive immigration bill, even as President Trump says lawmakers should wait until after the midterm elections. House Majority Leader Kevin McCarthy says it's important that Congress address the issue now. Congressional Democrats continue to sharply criticize the president. Maryland Congressman Steny Hoyer.
He is taking infant children hostage, wrenching them from the arms of their parents.
Tacoma, Washington police, using DNA collected from a 12-year-old who was murdered more than 30 years ago, have made a cold case arrest. Police Chief Don Ramsdale says his investigators got the word earlier this week.
The lab contacted us with a match between the original DNA and the sample collected from Gary Hartman.
The 66-year-old Hartman is in custody, charged with murder of Michaela Ward. She was last seen riding her bike in 1986. I'm Tim McGuire.